Oh, good morning, everybody. If any of you were here last night, you will know this is my second stream in a 12-hour window, which is quite fun. I'm happy to be back so soon. Honestly, I last night was a good stream. I enjoyed that. Hoping for just as good one today. How are we all doing in the chat? Let me know. How are we doing? We'll kick off in about a minute and a half. Let some people filter through. How are we all doing, everybody? Erik Ten Hag stays as Manchester United manager. That is insane to me. Absolutely insane. Hey, Ahmed, how you doing, pal? You all right, bud? We all good? Erik Ten Hag is staying as United. I can't believe it, honestly. Can't believe it. Woke up this morning. Very, very happy. Give it a minute before we start the stream properly, guys. How are we all doing? It's a what? Is it a Wednesday or Thursday? It's a Wednesday morning, honestly. This Getty FPL first time viewer of this show any good? Find out, mate. Stick about. You'll find out. Hey, Lachlan, how you doing, pal? You're here, you're doing double shift, aren't you? You were here last night as well, weren't you? IWI, how are you doing, mate? Good to see so many familiar faces in the chat. We'll give it a minute, then we'll kick off. What are we going to be talking about today? Give me 2 minutes and I'll get into it. Erik Ten Hag stays finally. Well, that's probably a bit of a giveaway. We will be talking about Erik Ten Hag to quite a big extent. Shall we kick off, everybody? Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the MPB Morning Show. I'm your host, Alex, at Alex Talks All, and the main headline today is Erik Ten Hag is staying as Manchester United manager. As well as that, we're going to be discussing who I think is going to be the first signing of the Ineos Ten Hag era, Mason Greenwood news, and how that potentially affects Manchester United leapfrogging Chelsea in the race to sign Michael Olise. If you're excited for all that and so much more, please hit that subscribe button, get involved in the chat down below, and we're aiming for 60 likes today on this absolutely huge stream. So please don't be afraid to hit that like button. Any support you show is so greatly appreciated. But we are going to be talking about the obvious. Erik Ten Hag, Manchester United. He is our manager for the future. David Ornstein broke the news last night as he just dropped the bombshell out of nowhere. No lead up to it. He's been silent on the matter for a long time. Drops the news. He says Manchester United and Erik Ten Hag will now enter discussions over a new contract. We also learned this morning by Fabrizio Romano that Erik Ten Hag is seen as the future. This isn't going to be a year-long extension. This is going to be a 2-3 year contract. They trust Erik Ten Hag with Manchester United's future. Off the rip, how are you guys feeling about that? Do we think that Erik Ten Hag is the man to lead us forward? 2, 3, 4 years? Do you see him lasting that long? Do you see him delivering silverware for us in that time? He's got 2 trophies for us in 2 seasons. Can he continue that trend and get better? Let me know in the chat. Let me know. Getty FPL says, great news, Ten Hag stays. Oh, I'm happy about it, mate. I'm happy, man. Swindy says Ineos should concentrate on strengthening the back 4 and midfield ASAP, at least this window. This is the most important than a striker, to be honest. We'll be focusing a lot on the transfer aspects of Erik Ten Hag staying in a little bit, but first let's get over how we're feeling about Erik Ten Hag. Do you think there was anyone else we could have gone for? I mean, Thomas Frank was available, Gareth Southgate, Thomas Tuchel, Mauricio Pochettino, all these names we've spoken about for what feels like months now. Do you think they came to the right decision? Do you think keeping Ten Hag, despite all the options out there, was the right decision? Ten Hag will shine, says Ahmed. Yeah, I certainly think it's time to give him a second chance. We as a fan base need to back this man. We need to back him. And who we also need to back is Ineos. I've been a huge critique of them. A huge critique. But Pete Hall came out and said last night, Erik Ten Hag will now take a back seat on recruitment. Manchester United and Ten Hag believe they are very much aligned. That shows to me Ten Hag's role has completely changed at Manchester United. When he came in, he had to have a veto on everything. He had to control all the recruitment, who comes in, who comes out. That's not the case anymore. Erik Ten Hag is now the head coach of Manchester United. His role's been diminished. There's recruitment and everything. Jason Wilcox, Dan Ashworth, Omar Barada, the voice of the gods. They will be deciding the recruitment. How do we feel about that? Do you think that's a smart idea? Do you think Erik Ten Hag will be better in that head coach role. He's proved he can do it already at Ajax, getting to a Champions League semi-final, beating Real Madrid amongst other great clubs along the way. Like, working with Overmars, he brought in really efficient players. Like, it works there. Do you think that works the same at United? Geddy says, don't think any of the options are better than Ten Hag. He deserved another season. That's sort of the feeling. I think it was Fab who came out. Let me see if I can find it. Saying that he deserves another season. Here we go. Pete Hall says, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Joel Glazer and Sir Dave Brailsford feel Erik Ten Hag at least deserves a chance to work within a proper footballing structure, which they plan to implement. They're giving him a second chance. They're giving him a new lifeline, a fresh start. Everything is different for Ten Hag now. Huda, hello Alex. Do you think we can get anyone from Juve in our team as they're in for Sancho or Greenwood? We're talking about Clayson Bremer as a player which United are interested in. Fabrizio mentioned him yesterday. We're talking about him. Chris H says Erik Ten Hag had that control and insisted on it when he signed. That's changed now. That's changed. Ineos would not be moving forward with a new contract for him. They didn't believe he was willing to take a step back and relinquish that power. They wouldn't believe it. Toulon says whether he's the man 3 years from now is yet to be seen, but he was the right and logical choice now. Forever the mature voice in the room, Toulon. Malman says it was an interesting night. I hoped for a new manager, but have accepted that the club has chosen Erik Ten Hag. No need to cry over spoiled milk. Let's move forward. Exactly. Back the manager, everybody. Back the manager. There's no point doing what we've done in the past and just sort of dragging our feet through the mud and begrudging the Glazers, begrudging the decision makers. It's a new start. It's a fresh start. It's taken a while to get here. We have to back them now. Srinidhi says we need to sell more players like Casemiro, Shaw, Rashford, Sancho and others ASAP and recruit the best and youngest future players. It's interesting you say that because Fabrizio Romano says Manchester United want to keep trusting young players. The club want to find new future stars. It sort of makes sense. Erik Ten Hag has been pivotal. I know people can say Garnacho and Mainu were always going to become the players they are today. They have incredible natural talent. But what Erik Ten Hag has done with Garnacho has been immense. He integrated him in beautifully. Yes, perhaps he's played a bit too much this season. He had nearly 29, 30 starts in a whole, in a row. That's insane for a young player. But it allowed him to develop. Mainu, in my opinion, has been managed beautifully. We all think about Carabao Cup, Erik Ten Hag, arm around the shoulder of Kobe Mainu, talking to him, telling him this is your chance to sign next year. This will be you. And then 1 year later, what happens? We win the FA Cup. Erik Ten Hag knows what he's doing with young players. Did it with Frankie de Jong. Did it with De Ligt over Ajax. Look what he's doing at United. The United way certainly flows through his blood. And Huda asked the best question. Alex, who do you think will break out this season from our academy? I asked that question to the chat. Looking at Carrington, possibly the best part about United for the last, 20, 30 years. Being the cornerstone of the football club, the foundation that props it up, who will be breaking through? I think there's a lot of Toby Collier fans in the chat, if I'm not mistaken. There's a lot of Toby Collier fans, last time I checked. For me, the player who will be breaking through very, very soon will be Shea Lacey. Maybe not next season. I think it's a bit too soon for him. He's 17? Amas, yeah. Gore, I think Gore's chance is gone, to be honest. I don't love Daniel Gore, to be honest. I just seems a bit of a nothing player. Collier, says Toulon. Everyone really likes Collier. Wheatley got his debut late in the season, says Malman. Camboila will settle. That is exciting. Camboila will go on loan. Camboila should go on loan to a tough championship club. I mean, if you listen to me at all, like the last few teams, you know how I rave about the championship. It is the nurturing ground for these young players. Wheatley and Amas. I mean, that's sort of why we'll get on to the centre-backs in a second. It's sort of why I argue for Branthwaite to come in and to be a hybrid centre-back and a left-back to allow Amas to come through eventually. To not have to sign on the left-back and then sell them on 2 years later. Kuyate says if we have Bremer and Todibo and at least Gutierrez or Kirkes on the left wing, plus Dalot and Wan-Bissaka, we should be good for the back four. Talk about chances very, very soon. Please stick around, guys, because I'll be revealing who I think, through my investigative work, who the first signing of the Ineos Ten Hag partnership is going to be. Stick around for that. You don't want to miss it. You do not want to miss it. And Simon Stone reported, obviously, Erik Ten Hag is delighted with today's outcome. I think everyone's quite happy with that. Alex, do you think De Ligt would suit our defence with Lisandro? I don't know too much about De Ligt. I don't know too much. I know he's a really good box defender, and that will always work alongside Lisandro Martinez. I have questions about his aggression. I have questions about his positioning in a high line, but I haven't watched him enough to really make a good conclusion on it. Oyedele is a baller. Also, says Toulon, I thought he'd be given a look in by now, to be honest. I haven't heard of him. Toulon, let me know what he is. Is he I think he's a winger, isn't he? My football manager knowledge is showing through now. Let me know, Toulon. Who is on Oyedele? Let me know. Let me know. And last night, we also got from Fabrizio Romano a sort of transfer update on everything at the club. He said they were going to be really busy in the next few weeks. Manchester United are now moving. We've been stalling with the roadblock of the Erik Ten Hag situation, but now we're going to go through full throttle straight into third gear, going to 90 miles per hour, and they're looking at left back. Milos Kerkez is one of the players they really like. Mentioned Kerkez in the chat. Muppeteers have also put him in, like, you know, their squad builder thing, like the green, yellow, red, the sort of traffic light system. He's in the green tier. So that's two incredibly credible reporters who have said that Kerkez is the top of the list. Would you have Kerkez as our new left back? Let me know. Let me know. Would you have Kerkez as the new left back, or would you rather sign a Branthwaite and shift him out to fullback? Let me know in the chat. Let me know. Just talking about, like, the sources that are happening here. David Ornstein broke it. It's his job sort of nowadays to find everything first. There was absolutely no rumours about it. Everyone thought Erik Ten Hag was going to be leaving the football club. Nobody in their right mind thought he was going to be staying. I've been saying it for weeks. For weeks, if you follow my Twitter, if you're on the streams, if you listen to me at all, you will know that Erik Ten Hag, I thought, was dead set on leaving Manchester United Football Club. And like that, he's staying. And that, to me, is really quite impressive from Ineos. It's really, really, really impressive. I think they've done brilliantly with it. They've been silent, moved very much covertly. The fact they pulled that off without any noise, I think, is really impressive. But Fabrizio Romano is the man who was given the keys to the transfer news. He continues and he says, the club need at least one centre-back. It might be two. They may decide to sell a centre-back. Jared Branthwaite, Jean-Clair Todibo and Gleison Bremer are among several options being considered. Let me know, chat, out of those three players, if you could only have one, who would you rather have at Manchester United? Let's see what you lot are saying. Ike says, I thought Amari Forsum was a talent. Why didn't it work out at United then? I think he wanted guaranteed playing time. To be honest, I think he trusted Erik Ten Hag. I think he really... he loved that he gave him opportunities. I just don't think he thought he would get the playing time he wanted, especially when Amad Diallo sort of burst onto the scene. I think he sort of knew then his time was up. Long-time Twitter follower, finally caught alive. Cheers, mate. Welcome, Austin. I hope you're enjoying so far. Leave us a like if you are. De Ligt, isn't he injury prone? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. He pulls back and tackles, says Marman. You know, I haven't watched enough of him. But I do think he's injury prone. Huda says, Alex, what would be your dream defence for us going into this season? Give me about 20 minutes and I'll tell you. Going into the centre-backs very soon. Toulon says, Oyedele plays 6, 8 and a 10 in the youth team. Look out for him this coming season, according to Toulon. Huda says, how much is Kerkez at 8 and Uri going to cost us? I'm assuming 15 to 20 million pounds. I'm assuming. I'm very much assuming. David says, any new links linking to Miguel Gutierrez for the left-back position? Attacking Football, someone who I work, a group who I work very close with, exclusively revealed a while ago that we are looking at him, that we're interested at him. I don't think it's really progressed past that stage. I think he'll cost us a bit too much money. I think Kerkez is probably going to cost around 15, 20 million pounds. I think that'd be perfect. Jalos says, what is going on with Mason Greenwood? He should be integrated into the team. We've got some huge Mason Greenwood news to discuss and how it is absolutely pivotal that he leaves to support the signing of Michael Elise. Stay around for that. Todibo, of course, Todibo. A lot of Todibo fans in the chat. What do you guys like about Todibo? Is it his price? He's listed for only 15, 20 million pounds. Like, it's really quite inviting, that price tag, I feel. Fabrizio Romano also goes on to say, if Casemiro leaves, there is a chance for the club to sign a new midfielder. At least one more striker will also join to replace Anthony Martial. Look at the wording of Fabrizio's tweet there. At least one more striker. The club need at least one new centre-back. So at a minimum, we'll be signing one centre-back and one striker. If it was up to you guys, which one would you prioritise and get two of them? Would you rather have two centre-backs and one striker? Or one centre-back and two strikers? Let me know in the chat. To me, I'd rather have two centre-backs. We just need one backup striker. Good Lord, you lot love Todibo. Good God. Todibo says Denzel Jacobs in all caps. Price and age says Huda. Kuyate says, I do think instead of putting all the money on João Neves, we should bring in Rabiot for free. God, the amount of money you'd have to pay Rabiot in wages and how much money you'd have to pay his mother. Like, look up Adrian Rabiot's mother, mate. Honestly, you'd want to run far, far, far away from that. Lachlan Charles says, price, experience, abilities, perfect for us. Ekator says, if Casemiro leaves, then João Neves should be the ideal replacement for him. Very different profiles. Apart from maybe like their ability to cover large amounts of space. I don't think they're that similar. Two centre-backs and a striker seems to be the consensus, but Jalal Malman says, sounds like two strikers are coming. That is what I want, two strikers to challenge Højlund, but also 2 to 3 centre-backs can be hard to do in one window. I think just due to the way Fabrizio worded the tweet, like listen, they may decide to sell a centre-back. Translate that to, we need to sell a centre-back to buy another centre-back. I think we can afford to buy a centre-back without selling one. To buy two, we need to let one go. And I think that would be like a Victor Lindelof or a Harry Maguire probably. I think he's more marketable. I can see a West Ham coming in for him. Even an Arsenal could come sniffing at some point. Jalof says there are loads of dead wood in the team. Need to trim this team and get better and committed players. Toulon says, I just want a physical, quick and athletic centre-back. For too long, we've been behind in that aspect of the game. It's embarrassing. Speaking of that profile, let's talk about now who I think is going to be the first signing of Manchester United's new era under Ten Hag and Ineos. That partnership which will lead us into the future. And that player is going to be Jean-Clair Todibo. Why? You lot have raved about him. You lot really want him. Let me tell you why he's coming. First of all, Fabrizio Romano, who has been spot on and the first to receive any transfer news so far in this Ineos sort of period. Any transfer news coming in that's breaking, Fabrizio has it first. Anything concrete at least, especially about targets. He reported a few weeks ago that if Erik Ten Hag stays, Todibo is more likely to come in than if Erik Ten Hag leaves. So it's clear, and especially last season, Todibo was a player of interest. It seems that under Erik Ten Hag, Jean-Clair Todibo is a name they want. He's reported to cost only £25 to £30 million, which is an absolute steal. In a market when Lenny Yoro costs 50 million, in a market when Jared Branthwaite costs 75 million pounds, like these are expensive players. When Bremer's probably going to cost you 45 million pounds as well. Like Todibo costing nearly under half of what Branthwaite will cost you is an absolute steal. Also, Nice are owned by Ineos. Like everything is favourable. You can say other clubs are interested in Todibo. No. No. If United come calling, United will get Jean-Clair Todibo. He even did an interview a while back and gave a really cryptic answer to being asked about United. So, hey-ho. How good is Todibo? I don't know particularly. This chat seems to absolutely love him. So, guys, what do you think? Are you happy that Jean-Clair Todibo is, in my opinion, the number one target for United, or at least the first player to be signed by Manchester United this summer? Let me know in the chat. Shrindi says, Maguire stays, mate. He'll be out next season if he doesn't do well this time. Harry Maguire is an interesting name to me because I adore him. I love Harry Maguire. I think his comeback this season has been exceptional. Through all the hardships he's gone through, like, for God's sake, guys, he got arrested in Greece and came back, and when he was on the pitch, when he was fit, he was one of the best players, one of the best centre-backs in the league. I promise you, he was that good. But I do think if we wanted to bring in a Lenny Yoro, I'd get rid of Maguire in a heartbeat. I'm sorry, but Lenny Yoro is the exact profile you want against Martinez. I also think Todibo would partner really well with Lisandro Martinez. I think they go really, really, really well together. Yeah, he's a good ball-playing centre-back like Lisandro, says David. Yeah, but I think more than that, their profiles mesh really well. Look, Lisandro Martinez, he's small, he's feisty, he really goes into challenges quickly. Todibo is more reminiscent of Varane. They're not the same profile. He's not as quick, perhaps he's not as left-footed, but he's certainly more of a cover defender, a really good box defender as well. So in my opinion, Huda says signing Todibo would help us sign one more defender. Yeah, exactly. £25 million, we can then get rid of Maguire and bring in a Branthwaite, bring in a Lenny Yoro maybe. That would be perfect. Mount says, you guys just mentioned Hoffenheim striker. Let me check that, shall I? Let me check that. We'll talk about that in a second. That news has just come through. Apparently, we're looking at a new striker. If you want to see more about that, give me about 10 minutes. I'm going to do a deep dive into that. Us as a chat, I'm going to learn more about him. Yes, he'll be the perfect signing, says Lachlan Charles. Everyone loves Todibo in this chat. If you love Todibo just as much as you're enjoying this stream, please leave a like on this stream, guys. We're aiming for 50 likes today. We're 2 away from 20. I'm sure we can hit 25 so soon. But yeah, how are we feeling? Last thoughts on Todibo. Would you rather have, if you had to choose between one centre-back this summer, Jean-Clair Todibo, Jared Branthwaite, or Lenny Yoro, who would you rather bring in? To me, if I had a choice between those three, I'm taking Lenny Yoro every day of the week. I think he's the best centre-back, one of the best young prospects generally, regardless of position, in world football. Alex, do you think Nice left-back Melvin Bard is a good shout? I don't know enough about him. Pardon me, boys. Don't know enough about him, Huda. David says, any news on Gonzalo Ignacio? That news has gone dead in the water. I think we were being... I was quite confident at the time that we were interested. Just due to how it's died down. Look, I was called out with the Erik Ten Hag stuff. But I just think, I just don't know how feasible it is. Huda, would you bring that Boca Juniors defender? Anselmino? Yes, I would. He looks fantastic. I would definitely loan him immediately to Nice. I would sign... If I sign 2 centre-backs, this could be interesting. Sign Todibo. Take him from Nice. Sign Anselmino from Boca Juniors. Loan him out to Nice for playing time to replace Todibo. I like the sound of that. That sounds great to me. That sounds wonderful. Joel says, don't forget Lisa is very injury prone. And Licha is very injury prone and needs to get 2 centre-back and others. What do you think? He's not as injury prone as it's made out to be. He's been rushed back into the team on low fitness type. It happened to him in the FA Cup final. He was rushed back in. Ike says, how true at the Bear Links? I haven't even gotten onto that, mate. Give me a sec. We'll be getting onto that. I've literally just seen it. But first, before we get onto that, I want to talk about Mason Greenwood, a man who has been linked to a move away from United for so long now. Fabrizio Romano is saying he's definitely going. Mark Goldbridge, someone who's very connected to Mason Greenwood, also saying he'll be leaving. Oh, sorry. And it seems to me that Juventus are the most interested club in him. Fabrizio Romano, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, put out a report about him. I need to find it very quickly. Here we go. No, Di Maurizio, sorry. God, Di Maurizio. If any of you were reading BBC gossip columns about 10 years ago, he was the man. He was the Fabrizio Romano of 10 years ago. Mason Greenwood has been given priority to Juventus. New contacts took place in the last hours. This was yesterday. Manchester United value him at €50 million. Juventus expect to complete the deal in the coming weeks for 30 million plus bonuses. Juve must first sell Chiesa or Sule. And Alex Crook from TalkSport said that Manchester United have held talks with Juventus over the potential sale of Mason Greenwood. United are asking for £50 million. So we're asking for 50 million. We'll get around 35 million euros, which to me, take that and run. That's daylight robbery. Honestly, I know how fantastic that player is, but oh my God, it would be wonderful to get that player for that price, especially with all the drama that surrounds him. So chat, let me know. Do you think it's a good move for Mason Greenwood? Would you want Mason Greenwood to stay at Manchester United? My personal opinion is he probably should leave. Just not because of his ability, forget all the noise about him. It's just the fact that he brings too much drama to the club. Someone said on the chat a while back, he'd be appalling for away days. He would be appalling to have on the pitch. It would just bring the entire squad down. He needs a move away to Europe. Now I think Juventus, perfect place for him. So you, chat, let me know. We are waiting on Juventus to sell either Chiesa or Sule. Both players have been linked to United in the past. Chiesa not so recently, but Sule has. So let me know, chat. Do you think Juventus is a good place for Mason Greenwood to go to? David agrees with me. Greenwood should go to Italy, says Huda. I think he'd suit the football there. Lachlan Charles says, we should sell Greenwood to Juventus and do a swap deal for Chiesa, who can play on the right if you don't get Elise. It's interesting that you mention Elise, and it's sort of why I was so excited about the Greenwood news. I've always felt we've been behind on this Elise deal because, you know, Chelsea getting ahead, they're making contacts with their camp, talking to Crystal Palace, they've agreed personal terms, or whatever. Apparently he's more keen on a move to Chelsea. That's because we haven't really we've sort of put a toe in the water, and that's it, just because of the manager situation. Now that the manager's been sorted out, the only thing we need to do now is get rid of Greenwood and get rid of Sancho. Fabrizio Romano himself has said how important it is that we need to get rid of Jadon Sancho to get in Michael Elise. But Greenwood going is halfway there. £35 million is a lot of money. That is a lot of money. And the fact that that could potentially fund an Elise deal makes me excited and makes me feel that we could leapfrog Chelsea. Do you think, guys, that the Mason Greenwood deal will help us move to get Michael Elise? And do you think it's fair getting rid of Greenwood, getting rid of Sancho, and bringing in Elise? Do you think that's a good deal? Is that a good deal? Does that make sense? Marma says Greenwood is perfect into that Motta crazy system. Yeah, I know, mate. I know. Who says, Alex, who would you rather, Elise, Nico Williams, or Chiesa? Elise. Premier League proven. Premier League proven. Absolutely. That man has balled in the Premier League this season. I did a Crystal Palace podcast the other day with Seb Foot. Really good Palace fan. And he was saying just how good Elise was. He's at Selhurst Park week in, week out. He adores Elise. He adores him. Morning, Ronnie. How you doing, mate? Toulon says, I say this reluctantly, but he needs a move for his own sake. The English media are the absolute worst. Whether you love him or hate him, he needs to go. He needs to go. There's too much drama around Mason Greenwood. It's just unfortunate. Elise, 100% says Charles. Who says, Alex, who would you rather sign? Amberbat for £20 million or Fofana for £25 million? Fofana in a heartbeat, mate. That man managed to fill a Tchouameni-shaped hole at Monaco and has done so brilliantly. Absolutely. David says, we should include a 25% sell-on and also a buyback clause for Mason Greenwood. He's done at United, boys. He's done at Manchester United. He's done at Manchester United. There's some striker talk in the chat. There's a bit of striker talk, which we will get onto, actually, in a second. Any last things about the Mason Greenwood Elise situation, guys? Anyone got any thoughts, any feelings about it? To me, it makes perfect sense. And we are waiting, I think, for Sancho to get a loan with an obligation. And I think even if that obligation is like £25-30 million, I think we pull the trigger on Elise. Honestly. Ronnie says it's going to come down to Elise if he wants to be managed by a championship manager or Ten Hag, who's won 2 trophies. Bit unfair to Maresca, I feel. He's done brilliantly with Leicester, but yeah, I understand what you mean. I do get what you mean. Apart says, what's happening with Todibo? In my opinion, mate, Todibo will be the first signing for Manchester United this summer. If you want to know more, check back the last 20 minutes of the video, of the stream, sorry. You'll learn all about it. Now get Greenwood back, says DJ. Mate, I'm sorry, he's done. I'm sorry. But shall we look at the breaking news that just came out about a rather unknown striker? Let's have a read. It comes from Sport Bild and Sport Witness, which is a typically really quite good source for German news. Manchester United have asked what the terms would be to sign Hoffenheim striker Maximilian Beer. United have been told he has a £27 million release clause. Chat, can one of you please do me a favour? Go onto Google, don't go off the stream, don't you dare do that. But just go on Google and search up who this guy is. Did he get any starts last year? Is he just a young talent who's like quite hyped up in Germany? Let me know about him. Because it's just come out. It's come out £27 million as a release clause. I think it's quite a lot. But let's sort of break down the tweet a little bit. So Sport Build, really quite good source. Very agent talky, so I think an agent has ran To Sport Building God, please publish this. Manchester United have come calling. Have asked what the terms would be to sign a Hoffenheim striker. Look at asked what the terms would be. It just sort of feels like very... It's quite cautious, the approach. It's very sort of dipping a toe in the water to check how hot or cold it is. Sort of trying to figure out what the terms of the deal are. See if it's feasible. See if it's possible. I don't see that being really solid interest yet. We haven't really reached out to his representatives properly. Sure, we have reached out to Hoffenheim, which is usually a pretty good indicator. But the £27 million release clause does scare me. It does scare me a little bit. Do you think that would be fair? £27 million? Like, someone figure out who this guy is. Let me have a little look myself. Especially when we're linked to players like more known quantities, like Tony, like Xerxes, like Jonathan David. Would you want to... here we go. Huda says, 21-year-old striker, and has 15 goals in 34 matches, 16 goals last season in 33 games with 3 assists. I mean, Bunky. Well, that's interesting. I've never heard about him. Have any of you? But again, this is the sort of deal we need to be talking about. Like, remember earlier on in the stream, we spoke about Fabrizio Romano's report saying, we want to target young players. We want to make the new stars. Could this player be here, the new star? Could he be the new future of Manchester United's front line? I don't know. But Ineos certainly think so. They think enough of him to go to Hoffenheim and go, look, how much does he cost? That's what they're asking. He can also play on the left wing, says David. That's interesting. Sheldon Toulon says, there's no way United are looking at another 21-year-old striker right now. Alvarez is looking for a move away from City because there's another young striker in Haaland at City. We are never getting Julian Alvarez. No, not going to happen. If Alvarez is going to go anywhere, it's not this summer. And next summer, if he does leave, it will be to Real Madrid or to Chelsea. He will not come to United. Not a chance. 16 goals in all comps is not bad at all. I understand it's the Bundesliga. Again, I'm sorry, chat, but can someone do me a favour? Go on YouTube on another device and just type in highlights of this bloke and figure out, is he quick? Is he rapid? Is he a hold-up striker? Let me know. I want to learn together with you, chat. I want to learn. But how about, instead of talking about an unknown quantity, we very quickly shift and let's talk about a more known quantity in Xerxes, the Bologna striker. Played under Thiago Motta last year. He's very much a hold-up striker. Very much reminiscent of, like, if you've got Haaland on one end and Gabriel Jesus and the types of striker you can have. He's more towards the Gabriel Jesus. He's a facilitator of play. He drops in on the last line, in that sort of zone between the defence and the midfield of the opposition team, operating in those spaces, playing out passes wide, holds the ball up really well, excellent caveat of the ball. I think a problem on the top of my head I see with Xerxes is his mental profile. I'm pretty sure he had troubles at Bayern, if I'm not mistaken. But hey ho, let me know about that. But Xerxes, let's have a think about that. So Rob Dawson came out of the report yesterday. We've been hearing links to Xerxes for a while now, little rumours, little rumblings of Joshua Xerxes, whether we'll be interested in him or not. Rob Dawson comes out to say that yesterday, Manchester United have drawn up a list of striker targets ahead of the summer transfer window, which includes Ivan Toney, Jonathan David and Joshua Xerxes. Chat straight away, let me know. Out of those three, who do you want up front at Manchester United Football Club? Let me know. Let me know. Dawson goes on to say, Xerxes has a £34 million release clause, while Tony and David are about to enter the final year of their contracts. Tony will cost more than £50 million. Rob Dawson goes on to continue saying, signing a striker is a priority for Manchester United, regardless of who the manager is next season. Well, we now know that manager is Erik Ten Hag, but when it comes to the striker situation, I do find the £34 million release clause misleading, because there's also £15 million in agent fees that Xerxes' agent wants. I was told about that by someone close to the deal, so take of that what you will, take of that with a pinch of salt, but it will cost about £50 million in total, and that's regardless of wages, to fund a move for Joshua Xerxes. Hey Yinka, how you doing, mate? How you doing? Alex, do you think Xerxes would come to Manchester United, despite reports saying he wants to stay in Italy, says David? I mean, AC Milan, I thought pretty much all but had him. Like, I heard very good things about AC Milan and Xerxes. But it seems that agent fee is causing an issue. And if you know anyone who overpays on agent fees, it's Manchester United Football Club. I'm hoping we're not going to. But to me, £50 million for one of the best hold-up strikers in world football, yeah, I like that. I like that. Malman says, Xerxes did light up for Bologna, but he did play under the madman Motta. I know, but the thing which I love about Xerxes is, you know, Ferguson, the midfielder, very Scott McTominay, Conor Gallagher-esque player, crashing the box, third man runs. He stood out at Bologna last season. He stood out. But the reason why is because Xerxes facilitated so much play for him. I know Motta's brilliant, but Xerxes was wonderful for him. And that's what I love about the idea of Joshua Xerxes. He played wonderfully with Rashford. He'd do brilliantly with Bruno. He'd be excellent. He'd be a very different profile to Højlund. So look, Højlund's not working in the game. Let's switch it up. Put Xerxes in. Xerxes not working well in the game. Put Højlund in. So to me, it makes sense. To me, it makes sense. He is the most logical signing. I have concerns over his mentality, but now I'm going to move past that. Guys, if you're enjoying the stream so far, if you don't mind, please hit the like button. We're nearly at 30 likes today. We've got so much more to talk about today, so please smash that like button. I'm near certain about 11 o'clock we're going to be getting a brief on a player, apparently a random player who United are interested in, so please stick around for that. Toulon says, I wasn't saying we should sign Alvarez. I was alluding to the fact that he wants a move away from City because of lack of playing time. That's what happens when you have two young strikers. That's what happened when you have Erling Haaland in the team, mate. Like, I adore Rasmus Højlund, and I think he will be a world-class striker one day, but he will never be Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland is one of the best strikers the Premier League has ever seen. So I think it's a bit of a different scenario, to be honest. Ronnie Dodge says, I hope under Bavada and Wilcox this summer we don't overpay on players. I hope we don't either. I really hope we don't. I think there's a way to go to get rid of that so-called Manchester United tax. I think that's something we have to sort of get rid of, and that's up to Bavada. That's up to Wilcox. That's up to Hargreaves to change the way United is perceived. NB says it's just the age thing and how Højlund started so much last year. That will clash with Xerxes. Think he goes to Milan, to be honest. I mean, okay. Look at the other names on the list. Ivan Toney, Jonathan David, Joshua Xerxes. Neither of those three are really going to be coming to United to play backup, really. It very much seems like United are trying to make competition for Højlund. Maybe it's because they don't trust him as much, Ineos, I don't know. But it certainly seems, I mean, look, signing a striker is a priority. Not a backup striker, a striker. Someone to compete with Rasmus Højlund. I mean, let me know, do you think he needs competition? I'm very much in the mindset that he doesn't. I don't think he needs competition. I think we saw it with Martial and Ibrahimovic. We even saw about how Rooney dealt like a little bit of an aside. Wayne Rooney, one of the club's legends, one of the club's best players at the time, felt like an aside to Zlatan Ibrahimovic. And don't even say age, because they were similar ages at the time. So I don't really want competition for Højlund. I want a clear understudy, a clear number 2 for him. But it appears United are going a different way. So therefore, my mindset is, who can provide us the best alternative? Who is the best different profile that we can get? To me, Xerxes is that. He needs a mentor, says Huda. Do we really want another old striker who's going to get injured all the time? And don't you dare suggest bring Wout Weghorst back to the club. Ten Hag will use him as number 10 again. And I can't do that. I can't. Shanidi says, how long do you think Ineos will buy for sell their first player? 2 weeks from today. We'll be getting major news this week. Things are going to escalate, or I bloody well hope so. And I do think they will. I genuinely think things are going to move forward very quickly. Look at Fav's report last night. We are going to be busy. Manchester United are going to be busy. Ayinka says, I don't think he needs elite competition. He just needs a backup so he doesn't start all games and has someone to look up to. He needs someone... It's a problem because I think he needs someone to compete with, but I don't want direct competition. Like, Cunha is a good option, says Cubis. Yeah, I think he is. I think he would happily... I think he's been at Atletico Madrid, he's been at Wolves, he's been around the block. I think he'd certainly fit in at United as a number 2, but we don't seem to be showing much interest in him I was thinking he'd cost us a lot of money. Huda says Vashi, João Felix and Elise would like the Premier League upon fire. Where's your, like, I get Vashi can score goals, but you need consistency in goals amongst that front line. It's not there. Let me know, does anyone think that front line could light the Premier League on fire? I'm not too sure. Toulon says, I don't think we will overpay per se, but if the hierarchy believes in a young player, they will spend what it will take, but there is no guarantee that player will live up to the hype. Like, how much, remind me, was it like 70 million Rasmus Højlund was? Was it 70 million? I mean, like, that's investing in a young player, and he will come good, but we do have to show, intent. Dan says, I just had this debate on another show. Well, welcome to the better one, mate. I'm sorry. Everybody needs competition. If Rasmus goes out, you want someone as good as him to do the job or better. You need an equivalent, an older equivalent who will be happy to play number 2 because they recognise that Rasmus Højlund will one day supersede them. That's the difficult part. And strikers have the biggest egos on the football pitch, and that's why it's really hard to find a good number 2. Toulon says Højlund needs service. If he had that last year, he would be banging. He's just shown us how clinical he can be. Yeah. Fair enough. I mean, to sort of support the Xerxes links, Sky Sports came out with a big report yesterday saying Joshua Xerxes is emerging as one of Manchester United's primary transfer targets this summer. United have made their interest clear in signing the Bologna striker. Xerxes has a £34 million release clause in his contract. We will be competing with Arsenal and we will be competing with AC Milan. I think at the moment it's more likely to be us and Arsenal. So Arsenal lost out on Sesko. They want a number 9. I don't think they're willing to pay above and beyond for an Evan Ferguson or an Osimhen. So I do think they'll end up looking quite desperately at Joshua Xerxes. And I do think that they'll be our biggest competition because I don't think AC Milan are going to be able to cough up the £15 million in agent fees. Ronnie Dodge says, just saw a video of Maximilian Bjerre. He's rapid and seems a handful, so I think he could work. I love me a quick striker up front. I love my outlets in behind. I love it. Honestly, little rapid striker flying up front, yeah. That's my sort of striker. How tall is he, by the way? Ronnie, can you search that up for me, please? If you don't mind. Alvaro Morata, like? Okay, chat, very quick question. Apart from the names that we mentioned today, are there any other strikers that you'd want to bring in at United? We've just heard Alvaro Morata. Julian Alvarez has been mentioned. Are there Mateus Cunha as well? Are there any other players we'd want to bring in? Any other players? Kadali, welcome back to the stream, my friend. Haven't seen you for a bit. I need a monster and powerful player like Anana or a new Rodri or Rice. We're talking about the number 6 role very, very soon and how our main target might just be Fofana. So yeah, Hoffenheim seems to be the name we're all looking at. Let me have a quick check, see if any more news has come out. Have a quick look. No, just the Bjerre links. And Yesri, yeah, another name that's been talked about a lot. Wahi, says Huda. Who's that, mate? Who's that, if you don't mind me asking? Alvaro Morata at United with a £12 million release clause. If that deal gets done, it's done on deadline day. Simple as Huda. So, are we all ready to move on to the number 6 role? Remember, we've still got so much. I'm predicting news to be coming out at 11 today, guys, so you want to be sticking about for that. I've been hinted to me that there'll be a sort of random player we're being linked with, so please stick around for that. Stick around. But no, let's talk about the number 6 role at Manchester United. Fabrizio Romano hinted that if Casemiro leaves the football club, we will be bringing in a new number 6. This interests me. Because Casemiro should be the first name out the door. I mean, look, if it was a choice between Varane and Casemiro, I'd keep Varane over the rather decrepit Casemiro. But unfortunately, Varane's gone. And I do think we can survive without the experience. Look, I've said on the channel before that we need that experience. We need that 5-time, 4-time, 3-time Champions League winning mentality in the dressing room. It's always a good thing. But unfortunately, Casemiro's passed it. And I think he sort of fell out with Ten Hag as well near the end of the season, so it just doesn't make sense. So that's why I think there's a very strong possibility we'll be bringing in a number 6 this season. My personal preference is Amadou Onana, but Youssouf Fofana seems to be the primary choice. Alexis Bernard from Le 10 Sports says, Manchester United are strongly positioned to secure the signing of Monaco midfielder Youssouf Fofana. Now, the buzzwords in that are strongly positioned. What does that mean? It's gobbledygook, it's garbage. It's not. Let me translate it. Strongly positioned is sort of like, look, Fofana wants the move. Fofana wants to come to United. That's why we're in the best position to sign him, because we're the most attractive club to him. Unfortunately, we don't have the funds for him. And those funds will come from Casemiro, hopefully, later on in the window. Homeland for the DM says, Aphelele. Is that how I say your name, mate? I'm sorry if I got that wrong. Neves is the one we should get. João Neves is always a name mentioned on this channel. Died down in the last day or two, but look, who would you rather have? João Neves for £90 million, restricting investment elsewhere, or would you rather bring in Youssouf Fofana for what would be £25-30 million? Let me know in the chat. Who would you rather have? Apelele says, I like the Benfica kid, but Benfica is just holding the football world ransom with their fees and release clause. I mean, he looks the real deal, João Neves. He looks the real deal. Edison from Atalanta says, G. Robinson. I'm not familiar with him, unfortunately. I'm not familiar with him. It's a bit of a shame, but I'm just not familiar. So you lot will have to let me know about him. Ahmed says, Jonathan David at striker and a 6 for Fofana. Jonathan David we barely discussed. He just seems like a fugazi to me. It's like, he is one of the players who definitely plays for Fabrizio Romano to talk about him. Definitely. Get both of them, says Cubis. Exactly. We're Manchester United. Let's get both of them. Why not? And honestly, yeah. I mean, if I was to choose for the number 6 position, I'd be getting in Amadou Onana and making Amrabat permanent. I mean, that might probably upset quite a lot of you because Sofiane Amrabat isn't particularly well liked amongst this stream. Sheldon Toulon says, first choice for that 6 role should be Neves, but I'm not against Fofana. Latest on Neves, Maximilian Bier and Todibo says one side. Neves, unless it comes down significantly to like £80 million, probably not happening. Bier, very tenuous links at the moment. We're going to be looking into him. Either wait further confirmation, wait for Fabrizio Romano to mention him, maybe wait for Muppeteers to comment on it. Hopefully we get that soon. Let me have a little look. And who was the last one? Todibo, in my opinion, the first player that United will sign this window, just due to how everything sort of makes sense about it. The Nice-Ineos connection, the fact that he was one of our top targets last summer, £25 million, and Erik Ten Hag loves him. It just makes sense. Onana is overrated, says Chris H, and is on 100k a week at Everton. Should pay him more. He's the perfect player alongside Kobbie Mainoo. That's why I've got to think about it, guys. When we look at Youssouf Fofana, he is a player who filled a too-many role at Monaco. He's a double pivot with him, too-many left, and he took both roles on his own, and he did brilliantly. That is a player who can play alongside Kobbie Mainoo. It's sort of why I'm scared about João Neves. I mean, Toulon just said Neves and less money to spend elsewhere. I don't think he works alongside Mainoo. Unless you pay them in a double pivot and pray João Neves can receive on the half turn, which I don't think he can do. Robinson saying Goldbridge is massive on him, saying we're in for him. Who's that? Not Goldbridge. Which player are you talking about him? Neves. Pierre, let me know. Ayinka says can't afford Neves this window, to be honest. Yeah, I agree with you, mate. I just don't think it will happen. I think next summer it could happen, but no. Ayinka says just get Todibo done. It's pissing me off. Expects movement on that ASAP, my friend. Shouldn't have to wait much longer. Robinson says, how about Javad Branthwaite? Swear they have to sell before the end of June. It's a waiting game, mate. Just wait. It's the end of June for a reason. Give it the last week of June. Everything will click into place. Everything will. Chris H says Everton's form drastically improved when Onana was on the bench. With the Onana thing at Everton, if you speak to Everton fans, they're quite upset at how that whole situation's been handled. I just think everything clicked for Everton. I don't think it's Onana's fault. I think he gets mislabeled with this like bozo gene a little bit. Excuse the slang, but like it is. He gets scapegoated a little bit. Maybe because like his frame and like how we sort of associate lanky players with like giving the ball away. Paul Pogba always had the tendency to give a ball away. I think people perhaps see a misguided parallel between the two. I don't think he's got a mistake in him. I think he's quite consistent on the ball. So Edison is the one who Gold was just really high on. I know he had him as like his dream team, didn't he? Fofana would be a dream, says Mirage. I agree with you, mate. I agree. He's cheap and allows us to invest elsewhere. Would you sell Malacia to get Kirkes or Aït-Nouri? In a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. I love Malacia. I love how good he is for Vashi. I love their bromance. It's a better love story than Twilight, but come on. Come on. His decision about not deciding to make the surgery at United was enough for me to want him to leave. I'm sorry. Any Matt's Weffer links. He's the number 6, isn't he? Don't know where from, but I know he's a 6. I don't know much about him, unfortunately. I haven't seen any links to him. No brainer for Fofana, 25 mil. Amberbat, 20 mil. 45 million tops. Get Neves next summer. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense, Mirage. I completely agree with you. If you also agree with the Mirage, or perhaps you're disagreeing with him, but at the end of the day, if you're enjoying the discussion here on the mufcMPB channel, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button. We're 7 likes away from 40 likes today, guys. Please, please, please hit the like button. I'd really appreciate him. Kadali is adamant in wanting Luke Shaw for 25 million out of the football club. Shall we look at Fabrizio Romano's transfer brief a little bit? Because he did drop that last night. Should we have a little look? And a bit more depth. Kirkes is the name he mentioned at left back. I think we're all pretty happy with him coming to United. Let me know if not. Let me know. But the thing I'm really interested about is his centre-back selection. Branthwaite, Todibo and Bremer. The 3 names who have really been sticking with Fabrizio Romano. Bremer's an interesting one. 27-year-old Brazilian centre-back. At Juventus, came third in the Serie A this year. Going to be playing a Demotta probably. Juve fans love him, and I have question marks over how well he'd play with Lisandro Martinez. He's a very aggressive centre back. He's good in one-on-ones. He presses up high. He's an explosive defender. He's got a really good jumping reach. He's an excellent box defender. So like theoretically, very similar to Varane. I just think he engages too much in duels. I think a good centre-back partnership is one who engages, one who backs off just a little bit. Not Victor Lindelof level. I don't like players, centre-backs, who hate contact. But I wouldn't mind a little bit of a player who stands off that a little bit more. Todibo, he's a very fast centre-back, says Kadali. People say he's a Rafael Varane regen. I still think Lenny Yoro is that player. Shanidi says, first, get rid of this medical team, please. It's horrible. It's being revamped, mate. We've got the Arsenal bloke in. We didn't really have a medical team for a lot of last year. It just didn't really exist, which is laughable with Manchester United, I'm sorry. Bremer, no, says Kadali. Mason Greenwood going to Juve, yes. Yeah, I think it will happen. Give it a week, 2 weeks. Let them move Chiesa on. Let them move Sule on. And we'll be seeing Mason Greenwood wearing the black and white, not of a prison cell, but of Juventus. Sorry, that was poor. That was poor. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. Sorry, guys. Who says out of the box shout, but do you fancy Thiago Santos as a backup right back if we offload Wan-Bissaka? First of all, I hope we don't offload Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I like him. But no, I'm not too sure about Santos. I've heard he's quite good, but I just don't know much about him, unfortunately. Who would be your dream partner for Maino and Bruno next season? I've said it time and time again. Amadou and Nana. Apahelele says he's really impressed by Robinson from Fulham. H is from the overlaps left back of the season, actually. And you know how much I respect H's opinion, but yeah. I'm glad some people enjoyed my joke. Glad some people enjoyed it. Oh, dearie me. Aaron Wan-Bissaka I like, fair enough. No blowing uncalled for. I'm sorry, mate. I'm sorry. It was a joke, mate. I'm sorry. I apologise. G. Robinson says, you can tell Erik Ten Hag loves the club, the way it was dealt with, and he still comes out and says he wants to stay and isn't holding anything against anyone. Love him, my manager. Talking about Erik Ten Hag's love for the club. gonna mention very quickly how it was how he got sort of done a little bit dirty by Ineos during the whole interview process when he became a candidate per se. If any of you have seen Ducker's report, I've not seen much of it, but I believe, I don't know if I've got the wording word for word. Let me see if I can find it. But if I'm not mistaken, on the day in which they were travelling down to London, that Erik ten Hag's meant to prepare for the FA Cup final, Ineos were interviewing Thomas Frank. Chat, let me know. How respectful is that, do you think? How respectful do you think it is? Let me know, chat. Let me know. Huda, great work, Alex. You're one of the few streamers who give every opinion a ground. Hope you go fast, mate. Cheers, mate. I really appreciate it. But yeah, let me try to find the report from Thomas Frank. No, it is. There we go. Docker's put out this brilliant report this morning. I haven't been able to read it fully. Talking about how Thomas Frank was met by Ineos chiefs the day in which Ten Hag was travelling down to London with Manchester United to prepare for the FA Cup final. I mean, come on. Like, look, that's so disrespectful. I mean, G. Robinson said it perfectly. It's a joke. How you can do that before his biggest game of the season, the biggest game of United's season. For so long, it decides his future. And Erik ten Hag are chatting up Thomas Frank. And you know what? At the end of it, it was Thomas Frank v Erik ten Hag. I'm certain of it. I'm certain it came down. Bavada, Ashworth on a video Zoom call. You had Jason Wilcox there, Jim Ratcliffe, Brailsford. All of them were saying, look, who's it going to be? Thomas Frank or Erik ten Hag? I think that's what it came down to. And they did, I think, you know what? I tried my best to hype up Thomas Frank for you lot yesterday. I do think they reached the right decision. Extremely disrespectful, says Ayinka. I agree with you completely, mate. It's out of order, quite frankly. And speaking about Ducker's report, he mentioned in there how much Erik ten Hag loved United, how he stood by. People can say what they want about Ten Hag. How his tactics are poor, how he's misguided sometimes, how he's brought in the wrong players, how his recruitment's not great, how maybe he doesn't work brilliantly so far at United at times. You can't get over how much he loves the club. I watched just before I came on the stream to really put me in this positive Ten Hag forward mindset. I watched the entire FA Cup final. The FA Cup final highlights, but all of the press conferences afterwards, all the little interactions with Roy Keane, all the interactions with Lineker, Shearer when they called him out and said, oh, what's your future? All of that. I watched everyone getting upset with him, and every time he stood by himself, he backed himself, backing the club that he loves. That to me is my manager. G. Robinson saying, I look like a young Thomas Frank. Well, that's a bit of a divergence from this chat, isn't it? Chat, let me know. Do you agree with Robinson? Just put a yes or no, please. I want to hear no. But let's get on to the important matters. Paul says, stop being naive. Planning ahead is a fundamental area of success. Adapting is as well. Look, we can go on over if Ineos have been right by being reactionary, if they've been wrong by being reactionary. But look, at the end of the day, you have to back their decision. You can't look at this new regime. You can't immediately turn on them. You have to back these boys. You have to. Cheers, gents. Cheers, Ayinka. W-Boy says, let's see how Erik does this season. He could be gone by Christmas if it's the same as last season. He won't be. I promise you he won't be. I promise you he will not be gone by Christmas. This man is staying with us for a while. Fabrizio Romano said this morning, he is Ineos' future. Oh, good Lord, boys. Yes, I look like Thomas. Jesus, gents. I'm not his son. Apparently I look like Cillian Murphy. I'm taking that and running with it. Cheers, Josh. I appreciate not being called out for being Thomas Frank's son. Would any of you have been happy with Frank coming into the club? Let me know, chat. Say, because I do think, and I think we all come to the conclusion that it's either Ten Hag or Thomas Frank. Who do you think? Who do you think? Who would you have preferred, and would you have been happy if Thomas Frank came in? Jan says, God, you can tell this kid has never seen the good days at United. The standard of young United fans is awful. The mentality of the players now at United is weak, and the young fans seem to be the same. Cheers, mate. Appreciate the chat. Look, You can call my mentality weak. I've spent the last few weeks saying I think Erik Ten Hag should be gone. But after what's happened with Ineos coming in, the Glazers going out, the tumultuous season Ten Hag has had, Fabrizio Romano made a really clear insight saying that about why Ineos have kept him, saying that, let me find the exact words. Manchester United believe the 65 cases of injury or illness this season was a crucial factor in why the results were so poor. This was discussed in the end of season review. Look, that's why Ineos have done it. They believe he was done poorly by the injuries. They don't really think it's his fault. And you can say I've never seen the glory days. You're right. I haven't. My first memory is Robin van Persie scoring the hat-trick against Villa. And even before that, maybe I sort of remember the disappointment of losing the title on the last day to QPR, to City, in the game against QPR. But my standard is, got to be hopeful, got to look forward. If I'm constantly negative, what's that going to do? I will critique when criticism is needed. I have critiqued, if you come on my streams last few weeks, I have gone after Ineos for dragging the process out, for stalling everything. No. Yeah, I've gone at them the entire time, but it's now time to look past that, time to look forward to the future. Time to look forward to the future. Look, Charles, the way you explained it yesterday, then not as disappointed, but still sad. I mean, yeah. Josh Clark says, I wouldn't have wanted Frank over Erik Ten Hag. I think that's a general consensus. I feel that's a general consensus in the chat. That's the general consensus. Huda says, as a fan, we have to back owners as they have been pivotal in picking up a good board. Look, we've hired the best in class. We're getting Dan Ashworth. His arbitration, his sort of court deal, whatever it is ongoing at the moment with Newcastle United. It shouldn't be too long for Dan Ashworth is the new sporting director, head of operations, whatever word you want to say, of Manchester United. We've got Jean-Claude Blanc in as CEO or board member. We've got David Brailsford, the man of marginal gains, cycling's greatest ever sort of strategist. We brought in Omar Barada. We've stolen City's top men. We recruited Toby something a while back. We've got first in class at Manchester United. First in class. We have to trust they made the right decision and are going to continue to make right decisions. Dan says, are the owners being slow with their decisions, or are they not being emotional or reactionary and make sure they got the right decisions done? I mean, Keegan said yesterday, don't underestimate the fan power at United, or words to that effect. Fans have made a decision, and I do think you can call their decision reactionary. I do think it is a reaction from the Manchester United board and Ineos, but I don't think it's a bad one per se, but we'll see. George Robinson says, G. Robinson, sorry. Edison linked to Liverpool, for fuck's sake. I haven't seen that. Is that just now? Or what? Is that just recent? Have I seen us win the Premier League double? No, I haven't, Rajat. I haven't. I'm 20 years old, mate. I'm 20 years old. You'll see us win the European Cup one day, Sadinka. One day, mate. One day. We hope. Josh Clark, let the professionals do their jobs. Exactly. Back the board, back the manager. Don't pick and choose. Ineos in, Erik Ten Hag in, back everyone, back the players. Players you didn't like before. Say you ran the absolute worst agenda on Luke Shaw, or Marcus Rashford, or Bruno Fernandes, or Lisandro Martinez, or Al Wan-Bissaka, or Andre Onana. Any player at United, back them. I promise you it'll be for the better. I promise you. Yes, Fab, like 5 minutes ago. Let me have a little look. Chat. Let me have a little look. Fabrizio Romano, who's just reported about Edison, a player linked to United. Edison on Liverpool links. I'm happy at Atalanta. My focus is on Brazil now. I like Italy, but I'm also curious about the Premier League. The only possibility to leave is if Atalanta receive a proposal and then they decide. It's up to Atalanta. This is a direct quote. Also, have a little notice the words he used. Does he use Liverpool? He uses Premier League. This man wants to move to the best league in world football. I think it doesn't matter if it's United. I don't think it matters if it's Liverpool. I think whichever one comes in for him first. Whoever really pushes for it, I think it'll come. Sheldon Toulon, that's a mature take. A reaction, but a good one. That is exactly what it was, and there's nothing wrong with it. Exactly. You can be reactionary, and it be fine. You can be reactionary and get away with it. No, not get away with it. That's the wrong way. You can be reactionary and it not be rushed. Like, their reaction took, what, 2 weeks? I mean, when you think about it, I don't know. Chat, let me know. Do you think it was reactionary in a good way? Do you think... chat, come on. Let me know. 'Cause I'm stumped. Dan says, how hard do you work? You seem to be constantly live online. I'll keep it up. I'm a busy man, mate. I'm a busy man. I do lots of stuff. So yeah, make sure if you don't want to miss anything I do, follow me at Alex Talks All on Twitter. And if you don't want to miss any Manchester United news, make sure you hit the subscribe button on the channel. I'm here every day at 11 a.m. And of course, follow us on mufcMPB on Twitter. You'll never ever miss a stream or any news again. Apelele says, the board could at least try multitasking. Everything stalled while they were sorting the manager situation by not changing anything. The board has people holding different roles, so let them work. You know what? They might have done really well here. I've called them out and saying they were rushing. That they were not rushing, sorry. They were stalling. They were slow. They were dragging their feet through the mud. They weren't being proper. However, they haven't actually missed out on anyone yet. Elise hasn't gone to Chelsea. Lenny Yoro hasn't gone to Madrid. Branthwaite hasn't decided to stay yet. If they've planned this perfectly, they've put all their resources into going over every possible scenario with Ten Hag. Every possible little caveat, sorting out the head coach stuff, sorting out his role for the football club. If they plan this meticulously, and now they go all guns blazing, they go at players, they go at Edison, they go at Elise, they go at Yoro, they go at Fofana. If they do that now, they move players on. Greenwood goes next week. They get Sancho going to Dortmund on a loan plus obligation. They move Casemiro to Saudi Arabia in 3 weeks, get Fofana in then. That, to me, is perfect. That, to me, they've done brilliantly there. Dan says, not everybody they want is in place and the transfer windows are not open and there is evidence we are active. We are talking to representatives. We are talking to clubs. We are not in advanced negotiations with anybody yet. It's a bit unfortunate. But you know what? It's going to change. I reckon, my prediction, and you can hold me to this, chat, 2 days' time, we will have substantial information on Todibo. That's not information. That's just a prediction. Who do you think will leave the club first this summer? Chat, I'm going to let you answer this question. Chat, let me know. Who do you think will be the first to leave Manchester United Football Club this summer? Let me know, chat. Let me know. Robinson says, Elise will go to Chelsea and I'm so scared I want him. Elise is a player who is intelligent. I spoke about it on another stream recently. Players are different in how they make their decisions nowadays. They're a lot more educated. They're a lot more, they listen to agents more. They've got a bigger entourage, more advisors around them. They consider a lot more in a deal. Not who their boyhood club was. Not the fact that Elise was at Chelsea's academy. So they're a lot smarter with it. And that's why I think it'll be a while before we hear about Elise. Martial, already left. Okay, from now, who's going to leave? Greenwood, yep. Thoughts on Forson to Monza? All the best to him. All the best to Forson. All the best to him. Thought the medical staff will go first, says Toulon. Mate, we don't have any medical staff. Guys, if you're enjoying the video so far, you're enjoying the stream, please hit that like button. If you've forgotten already, maybe you've already done it. Thank you so much if you have. If you've just joined the stream and you want to enjoy it, please hit that like button. It would mean the world to me. We're 6 likes away from 50 likes. I'd appreciate it so much. Greenwood or Casemiro. Sancho will be tricky to do, but he's the one I would want to boot first. Jadon Sancho. Do you think anyone else from Dortmund are going to be interested? I mean, Muppeteers have alluded to Jadon Sancho attracting interest from elsewhere. Where else could he go? Greenwood to Juve, what's the fee looking like? So we want £50 million. Probably it'll be more like 35 plus add-ons maybe. That's like a prediction. But that's what Dino Maurizio hinted at. Demotes into that. Disregarding free agents, I'd say probably Casemiro. Says Josh Clark. So chat, any other rogue shouts that we have? I'm going to stay on for quite a while today. Probably got another 10 minutes left of me. So guys, let me know. Any rogue opinions you have, any players you really desperately want to see us be brought into the club. Have a little look, see if I've missed anything. Any news that's come out of the last few hours that I've missed. Give me a second, chat. Give me a second. Can we sell everyone to Saudi? Casemiro can go. I'd like Jadon Sancho to go to Saudi Arabia. That would be nice. That would be nice. Oh, here's a question, chat. Here's a question to all of you. Erik ten Hag is being offered a new contract. How many years would you give him? How many years would you give him? Would you give him an extra year? Just a year-long extension? 2 years? 3 years? 4 years? Let me know, chat. Let me know. If you're just joining us, if you have any good questions to ask me, please let me know in the chat. I'm hearing Anselmino news from Cubis. I haven't heard anything about him for a while. He's something that could happen over the next few days. Maybe some links we brought up about him. But I think we'll bring in another centre-back first, I feel. I think another centre-back first will be ideal. Sean says Sancho is in his own head. It's a Caribbean thing and he's one of us. Yeah, mate. From the Caribbean, brother. Whereabouts? I got family in Nassau, Bahamas. Let me know where you from there. Let me know. 5 years? Oh, 3 years. Boys, it's a long time. 2 year with no sacking fee. You have to give him a sacking fee. Mate, you have to give him a sacking fee. I'm sorry. Can't get away from it. I have to give him a sacking fee. 5 years is mental to me. Xerxes, so speaking about the striker situation again, I've had a little ponder. I was really keen on Ivan Toney and also Mbeumo yesterday as a player to bring to the football club. And I still am keen on Mbeumo. I really am keen on him. He's someone I'm really interested in. I think he's really versatile along the front line. He's Premier League proven. Would you guys want him at the football club? Let me know. Let me know. Antigua says Toulon. Yeah. Oh, I think I've been there once. Not with family, but I might have been there once. I'm trying to think. We should be, guys. I'm going to stay on for a few more minutes because apparently I'm going to get some news coming in about a player that we're linked with. Give me 5 more minutes and hopefully we'll be seeing that. Deliso says, United next season, I need to see Coman, Kudus, Frimpong, Olmo, Kirkes, Xerxes, Ignacio, Todibo, Højlund is better for United and a partridge in a pear tree, mate. Good God. That's a lot of players, pal. That's a lot of players. Cuba says, who do you think on the first team is to move from the youth team to our first team? Who should be fast-tracked, from the youth team to the first team? Shea Lacer should all be training with us in the first team. She should be playing for the under-21s, you should be training with the first team. If it was up to me. Anyone else? Got any opinions before I end the stream? Cracking. I think we'll give it 2 more minutes. Any other questions you've got for me, chat? Any other questions we'll take? And Mbeumo says, Josh Clark, I've really enjoyed today, guys. If you're still here at the end of the stream and you haven't given us a like, what are you doing? Honestly, and please hit that subscribe button as well. Smash it to pieces. Covered a lot today. Covered Erik ten Hag. Covered a brand new striker in the form of, what's his name? Biea. We've covered Xerxes. We've covered Tony. We've covered Fafana, Todibo, Bremer. The whole works, and it's only going to get more exciting. Apolele says, with the right backing, he could be our manager for the next 10 years. His pedigree in cup competitions is incredible, and we need that sort of consistency. You know what, mate? That is an incredibly optimistic, and I also think a really nice way to end the stream. So if you've enjoyed today, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that like button. Follow us on Twitter at mufcMPB. Follow myself at Alex Talks All on all platforms. If you never want to miss a stream, I'm here every day at 11 a.m. talking the latest and greatest United news to you every single day. Yeah, I'll see you next, guys. See you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Cheers, boys.